Queen of Heaven, Maleket Shamayim. Title of a goddess mentioned in Jeremiah. Although the title refers to several goddesses throughout antiquity, in the biblical context it most likely refers to the Canaanite goddess Astarte. Biblical usage. The two biblical references to the foreign deity the Queen of Heaven appear in the book of Jeremiah, J 7:18, 44:15-26. In Jeremiah 7:16-20, Jeremiah laments the pagan practices that have crept into the Judeans' daily worship, including kneading dough, to make cakes for the Queen of Heaven, J 7:18 ESV. Jeremiah 44 offers a longer discussion of the Queen of Heaven in the context of post-exilic Jews residing in Egypt, J 44:1. The prophet is concerned that the Judeans' worship of foreign deities and refusal to listen to his message will speed up their ruin, J 44:5-8. Jeremiah's mention of the evil of your wives in J 44 May 9 refer to women making cakes for the Queen of Heaven. In response to Jeremiah, the people announce that they intend to keep worshipping the Queen of Heaven because they believe that doing so would result in the bounty they had experienced in Judea. They vow to continue to make offerings to the Queen of Heaven and pour out drink offerings to her in order to regain their previous fortunes, J 44:17-19. Jeremiah delivers a twofold response. 1. He notes that God did indeed see their offerings to him but was enraged by their attempt to worship both him and the Queen of Heaven, J 44:20-23. 2. He notes that God's only recourse is to destroy them, even in Egypt, J 44:24-30. Possible identities. Although Jeremiah uses the epithet Queen of Heaven multiple times, the phrase provides no explicit association with a known deity. Epigraphical and geographical evidence allows for a few interrelated identifications. Most popular are the suggestions that Queen of Heaven refers to a version of the Canaanite goddess Astarte, or Ashtoreth, or the Mesopotamian goddess Ishtar, Burger, Cakes, 1218. Astarte and Ishtar. According to John Day, Astarte is the most likely candidate because she is the Canaanite goddess who is most frequently associated with the heavens in the first millennium BC. Additionally, she is a native Canaanite deity whose worship the people of Judah would certainly have encountered, Yahweh, 149, 150, Olian, some observations, 166, 171. Astarte has typically been connected with the Greek cult of Aphrodite Aurania, meaning Aphrodite of heaven, Olian, some observations, 168, 169. Day and Ackerman connect the baking of cakes in Jeremiah to the usual practice of offering cakes to Astarte, Day, Yahweh, 149, Ackerman, worship, 113. Day further argues that if J 44 is the work of the Deuteronomist, we can easily make a logical connection between the Queen of Heaven here and Astarte elsewhere, Day, Yahweh, 149, 150, Smith, Early History, 90, 145. Weinfeld proposes that Jeremiah's Queen of Heaven could be connected to the Mesopotamian Ishtar, citing epigraphical similarities between the title in Jeremiah and New Kingdom Egyptian texts, Akkadian texts, and the Mesopotamian practice of cake baking, Weinfeld, Worship, 149, 154, Day, Yahweh, 148. However, Day argues that the language of Jeremiah 44 precludes worship of the Queen of Heaven as being introduced by the Assyrians and is rather a deep-seated folk influence from the Canaanites, Day, Yahweh, 148. Ackerman suggests that the Queen of Heaven depicted in Jeremiah is actually an amalgamation of the goddesses Astarte and Ishtar, reflecting the melting pot of religion encountered in Judah at the time of the exile, which was influenced both by Canaanite folk religion and recently imposed Assyrian faith. Ackerman, Worship, 110. Minority hypotheses. Minority hypotheses on the identity of the Queen of Heaven range from actual goddesses such as Anat to wisdom, as a goddess, to Yahweh himself. Albright and Cohn suggest the Queen of Heaven is the Canaanite goddess Anat, Albright, Yahweh, 113, Cohn, Queen, 55. They note that the title Lady of Heaven is used in texts throughout Egypt around the time of the editing of Jeremiah, Cohn, Queen, 55, Day, Yahweh, 147. However, there is no evidence that Anat was popular in Judah, though citations of the deity Anat Bethel may link the goddess to Israel, Day, Yahweh, 147. Barker connects the Queen of Heaven to the goddess Wisdom, highlighting textual geographic connections between the activities in J 44-1 Enoch and the wisdom of Solomon, Barker, Wisdom, 143, 44, 145, 46. Barker also cites archaeological evidence that may allow some pillar figurines from this period in Judah and Jerusalem to be identified with wisdom rather than Asherah, Barker, Wisdom, 158, 59. Dehud suggests the Queen of Heaven is associated with the Canaanite goddess Shaphash, based on the use of the word cakes in J 44 and certain Ugaritic texts, Dehud, La Regina, 166, 68. Ellis makes an argument based on a lack of sexual imagery in Jeremiah's depiction of this female goddess, which is highly unusual, that the phrase Queen of Heaven may actually refer to how a certain group of women devoted to making cereal offerings referred to Yahweh. Ellis, Jeremiah, 487, 88. He supports this by claiming the word assumed to be queen could simply be sovereign instead. Translation. The English translation of the Hebrew phrase, Maleket Shamayim, as Queen of Heaven is technically incorrect. It stems from general acceptance that the first word was altered in the Masoretic text to both prevent readers from naming the deity and to lessen the suggestion that the Judeans actually worshipped her, Day, Yahweh, 145, Schmitz, Queen, 586-87, Ellis, Jeremiah, 466, 77.